a lot of e-com brands I speak to, they're doing all the right things. They're running ads, they're updating their creatives, they're sending out emails, they're tweaking their website, they're doing all of that good stuff, but their sales are just not growing. In fact, in some cases, the sales are declining. Now, the problem is not because they're doing all the things that they're doing, it's because everything they're doing is siloed, is individualized, and one thing is not speaking to the other. Okay, the brands that scale, they make sure they develop a system where the ads, the emails, the website, everything is all connected, it's all speaking to each other, and it's all providing them with the information they need to make tactical, data-driven decisions to grow and scale. And that is essentially an e-commerce growth system that these brands have built, and this is what's helping them really scale and move forward. So let's break down some of this stuff in bits in small chunks. The first thing is ads. Ads are a traffic source. Ads are what get people from A to B. Ads are there to disrupt your potential customer's day, show them your product or service, get them to be interested in it, and for them to then commit a certain action, i.e. click on the ad, land on your website, make a purchase. That is what the ads are there for. So you need to make sure that when you're running your ads, the messaging in your ad is exactly aligned to the messaging in your landing page. So let's say, for example, if your ad says this will give you, we'll buy this product and we'll give you 20% off, and they land on your website and they say, and your landing page says 5% off, you've already got a mismatch. Your potential customer is going to look at that and be like, this is not what the ad said, and you've already created that trust element in a negative way. Okay, you've already lost some of that trust, so that person is now going to bounce and go somewhere else where they're going to probably get the same deal from somewhere else, but in this instance that customer is going to convert with your competitor because your competitor's messaging is absolutely on point from start to finish. So that is really important, that your messaging is always aligned with your ads on your landing page. Everything has to be uniform and the same. So when it comes down to it, ladies and gentlemen, you're paying for the traffic, you're paying for the click, so it's really important that you make sure that the click is as valuable as possible. Okay. Second thing we need to look at is your website's conversion. Your website's job is very simple. It's there to convert traffic. Okay, think of your website as your salesperson of your shop. Okay, so when someone comes into your shop, assuming you've got a shop, the first person they'll probably speak to is the salesperson, and that salesperson's job is to convince that customer that the product they're selling or they're looking to buy from you is the product they need that solves their problem. So your website's job is to do that. Now, I see a lot of websites where information is sparse, information is very scattered, it's just not where it needs to be, and the conversion points are really poor, i.e. there's no upsells, there's no kind of follow-up process, there's no personalization or anything involved. Everything is just bang, you land on the website and you just expect the customer to convert. It doesn't work like that anymore. Your landing page needs to be, as I mentioned earlier in the first point, really good with your messaging, and it needs to be aligned with your ads. The more confusion that you create, the less sales you're going to make. Always remember that one. Okay. The third thing you need to focus on is email and retention. Now look, when you're running ads, not every single person is going to buy in the first instance. So in other words, when you get a new customer and they click on an ad and they land on your landing page, they're not going to convert straight away, especially if they don't know you, if they don't know who you are or what you do, or they've never heard of your brand or anything at all. Okay, so your retention piece is really important. I speak to a lot of brands, and I've been doing this since 2014, and it still surprises me that in 2026, okay, 12 years on, I still hear the same thing, where when I ask a prospect or an e-commerce founder, what do you do for retention? Their response is, oh yeah, we send an email once every blue moon to our list of 10,000 or 100,000 subscribers. Really? There's no segmenting, there's no personalization, there's no understanding of your audience or anything at all. And that is where things fall apart, because the most profitability that comes to an e-commerce business comes through retention. It's a fact, right? Look it up, Google it, ChatGPT it, whatever you want to call it, go look at it. Retention is really important, because through your retention structure or retention system, you can educate your audience, you can provide a lot more information, you can do so much to get them to buy into your brand and into your product or service and into you as a founder as well. And it's the most slept upon channel there is. In fact, it's almost seen as an afterthought, and that really frustrates me personally when e-commerce founders come to me and they say, look, we want to grow, we want to scale, but they're sitting on a whole gold mine of potential sales, which they're not doing anything with. They just want to spend more money on ads and think it's an ads problem rather than a retention problem. Retention is really key. This is where you get your repeat buyers. This is where you earn your customers' loyalty. And that, once you have that loyalty, it won't go anywhere else. So think about that for a second. Okay. Now, the biggest insight is that I can give you in this instance is making sure that all of these things are connected, right? Now, what I see a lot of ecom founders do to save a bit of cost, they'll have one freelancer or agency looking after the Google ads, one agency or freelancer looking after, I don't know, the email side, and they're all doing their own thing, trying to keep their monthly retainer going. No one's talking to each other, and the founder is either oblivious to all this fact, or the founder is actually the glue that's keeping everyone together. Okay, so this is where we come in, and this is where my agency, we take care of everything for you. We take care of the retention, the acquisition, and the conversion when it comes down to it. So having one person look after everything is a lot easier and a lot better, because that way everything is under one roof, everyone's on the same page, the messaging and everything else is all accurate, there's no disparity. I've seen people who've run their e-commerce brands, right, where the email is saying one thing, the ads are saying another thing, and the website is just saying something completely different, and they're wondering why sales are not coming through. Just by having those three people or individual freelancers speaking to each other, just that alone would probably increase your sales by 20%, if not more. Okay, so it's really important that if you are running it like that, where you've got individual people working together, make sure they're all talking to each other, or find an agency like mine where everything is done by one team working directly with you, so that way everything stays in one place and everything is uniform and everything is accurate and going in the right direction. So this is what it comes down to, right? Your ads speak a language and your landing page speaks the same language. Your website captures and then converts, and your emails follow up to maximize that customer's attention and that earn that customer's loyalty. Getting these three things right and making sure that everything is talking and speaking to each other is really important. Otherwise, all you end up having really is organized chaos, and that costs more money than actual normal good old-fashioned chaos. So if you are looking to work with someone who understands this, who has helped grow e-commerce brands since 2014, has helped generate millions in revenue for them, then give me a shout. There's a link down below where you can book a call in myself directly, and if you have any concerns around your e-commerce business's growth, we'll go through that with you in the call and give you a solution. There's no obligation to do anything after that call, and we've got loads of other free resources down below, such as free masterclasses and other bits and bobs which you can then access for free in order for you to understand exactly what we do, how we do it, and implement some of that information for yourself. So one thing you should take away from this video is make sure that everything is connected and working together, and everything in terms of messaging is exactly the same. Please do that. Thank you and for watching this video. So if your e-commerce business is struggling to grow sales, it's more than likely for the reasons I mentioned in this video, that your retention, your acquisition and your conversion, i.e. your ads, your emails and your website, are not talking to each other, and all the messaging is off and all the messaging is different from one channel to the other. So if you need help putting everything together, unifying everything into a coherent system, then down below is a link where you can book a call with myself. We have a service called the e-commerce growth roadmap, where there's no monthly retainers or anything at all, and we work with you for 90 days where we just build everything out for you to make sure that everything is working so that you and your business are thriving and growing really well. So if that's something of interest to you, down below is the link to book a call. Please do that. If you have any questions or if you want me to cover any other topics, again, leave some comments down below. I'll happily respond to every single one of them, and I'll also cover off other topics that you may be interested in. So thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next one.